Part 1. The departure. I came home early from a business trip to find my wife's stuff gone. "I'm moving in with someone more successful," she texted me. I didn't respond, I just called my lawyer. 48 hours later, she realized she'd left with nothing and my phone exploded with desperate calls. I still can't believe I'm typing this. 3 days ago my life was normal. Now I'm sitting in our half-empty bedroom, staring at bare closet spaces where my wife's clothes used to be, trying to make sense of everything. It started when I came home early from a business trip to Portland. The whole flight back I was actually excited. I had managed to wrap up everything a day ahead of schedule, and thought I'd surprise Dana. We'd been married for 4 years, together for 6. Both of us were 29 when we got married. Now I'm 32 and she's 31. The first strange thing I noticed was that her car wasn't in the driveway. Not totally unusual. She'd been going to the gym a lot lately, but when I opened the front door, something felt off. You know that feeling when you walk into your house and can just tell something's different? I called her name, but the silence that answered felt unusually heavy. Walking into our bedroom, I froze. Her side of the closet was empty. Not messy empty like when she was trying on outfits, but methodically cleared out. Her jewelry box was gone. Her fancy skincare products had vanished from the bathroom counter. Even her essential oil diffuser, which always made the room smell like a health food store, was missing. My hands were shaking as I pulled out my phone to call her, straight to voicemail. That's when the text came through. "I can't do this anymore. I'm moving in with someone more successful. Someone who matches my ambitions. I'll have my lawyer contact you about the divorce." I sat on our bed, my bed now, I guess, for what felt like hours, thinking back over the last few months. The signs had been there, I just hadn't wanted to see them. She had started making these little comments about my lack of drive. She constantly compared our life to her coworker Christian's Instagram, his business trips to Dubai, his Tesla, his summer house. I'd try to remind her we were doing fine, building our life at our own pace, but she'd just look at me like I was something less than. The new gym membership at the fancy downtown place. The sudden obsession with luxury lifestyle YouTubers. The way she came home late from networking events, smelling like someone else's cologne. God, I'd been so blind. I didn't break down. I didn't trash the place. I didn't drunk dial her family. Instead, I did 3 things. I called my buddy Jared, who happens to be a divorce lawyer. I took photos and videos of everything. I sent her one text. Noted, my lawyer will be in touch. Then I poured myself 2 fingers of whiskey, opened my laptop and started making lists. Bank accounts, credit cards, passwords, our lease, the joint phone plan, everything that needed to be handled. Her mom called around 8 p.m. I let it go to voicemail. Her sister Kira texted asking what happened. I didn't respond. A string of notifications from Dana started coming in around midnight. Apparently my lack of emotional breakdown wasn't the reaction she had expected. "Jeremy, please talk to me. You're being cold. I deserve better than this silent treatment. Christian says you're being manipulative by not responding." I turned off notifications and kept working. By 3 a.m., I had a clear picture of our finances and a solid to-do list for the next day. The apartment lease was in my name. The utilities too. She had left her name on all our joint accounts. Rookie mistake. Weirdly enough, I thought I'd be devastated. But all I felt was this cold, focused clarity. Like that moment in a movie when you finally realize the plot twist was obvious all along. The funniest part, she left behind all her important documents, birth certificate, passport, social security card, everything. They were in our fireproof safe, which she apparently forgot about in her rush to her new, more ambitious life. I'm sure that's going to be fun for her to deal with. I kept waiting to feel broken, to cry, to want her back. But I didn't. All I felt was readiness to take back control, to protect myself, to move forward, and that was just the beginning. Part 2. Unraveling perfection. The day after I met with Jared, Dana's sister Kira called again. I almost let it go to voicemail, but Jared, who was helping me organize paperwork, suggested I answer on speaker. "Jeremy," Kira said, her voice shaky, "I'm so sorry. I should have warned you. I noticed the signs. She did the same thing to her ex before you. That got my attention. Dana had always said her previous relationship ended because the guy was emotionally unavailable. According to Kira, the truth was different. Her ex was a regular guy, working his way up. Dana dumped him as soon as she met someone with a fancier job title. That relationship lasted 3 months before the guy's wealth turned out to be leased cars and credit card debt. While Kira was talking, my phone buzzed again. More messages from Dana. "I need my birth certificate for a new job. Where did you put my passport? Stop being petty and answer me. Christian says you're legally required to give me my documents." I showed Jared. He smiled, calm as ever. "You're not required to respond to her directly," he said. "We'll send a formal notice. Since she abandoned the residence, everything now goes through proper legal channels." Later that evening, Dana's mom called. I picked up. She sounded tired. "I want to apologize, Jeremy," she said. "This pattern with Dana, it's not new. She's been chasing status since high school. I thought maybe with you she'd grown out of it. I really did." Apparently, Dana was living in Christian's downtown apartment now, the one he always posted on Instagram. According to her mom, it was rented. His parents had co-signed the lease because his credit was too low. Over the next few days, I got my affairs in order, changed all my passwords, froze the joint credit cards, moved utilities solely into my name, switched our streaming accounts, changed the locks. Then came the social media storm. Dana had been posting curated shots of her new life, filtered morning lattes, rooftop views, #grindset quotes, and captions like, "Finally living the life I deserve." But it didn't last. She couldn't access her old job's paperwork. She'd forgotten her login to the email connected to her resume. She couldn't apply for a new job without her documents. And since we were processing everything legally, she had to wait. Then her gym membership, the one at that fancy place downtown, bounced. It had been on our joint card, the one I'd frozen. Her Instagram stories turned from glow-up selfies to long, vague rants about how people were trying to control her, how financial manipulation was abuse. It was almost sad, almost. One day, I got a message from a number I didn't recognize. It was Christian. "Man, you need to be reasonable. Just give her the documents and stop being difficult. This is beneath you," I didn't reply. I forwarded it to Jared, who added it to the file. A few mornings later, I came back from a run and found Dana sitting on the front steps. Her face was streaked with mascara. She looked like she hadn't slept. I walked past her without a word, went inside and called Jared. He told me to send a single message. "All communication must go through legal representatives. Contact information has been provided." She stayed outside for nearly 2 hours, alternating between crying and furiously texting. I kept the security cameras recording and went about my day. That night, I started boxing up the last of her belongings. Her old journal was in one of the drawers. I didn't read it, just packed it away. Whoever she was when she wrote those entries, that version of Dana doesn't exist anymore. Maybe she never did, and me, I was finally starting to feel like myself again. Part 3, Closure and Clarity. The lawyer meeting was set for a Tuesday afternoon. Neutral office, glass walls. Dana walked in wearing the same designer dress she'd worn in a recent Instagram post, trying to keep her poise. Christian was with her, in a wrinkled blazer and loafers with no socks. A picture of misplaced confidence. Jared and I were already seated, organized, calm. Her lawyer was noticeably late. Dana looked around impatiently, tapping her acrylic nails against the conference table. When her lawyer finally joined, we got started. It was all fairly routine until Dana demanded immediate access to her documents. "I have a right to my things," she said sharply. "He's keeping them from me to punish me." Jared, ever prepared, calmly placed a folder of printed screenshots on the table. Her social media posts, the text messages admitting she left for someone more successful, her written acknowledgement of moving in with Christian. Combined with her abandonment of the property and public statements, the case was airtight. Dana's lawyer leaned back with a quiet sigh. We agreed on a supervised document and belongings exchange the following week. Dana seemed irritated she didn't get her way instantly, but there wasn't much room to argue. And then the fallout started to snowball. "Remember that crisis I handled early during the Portland trip? Turns out that saved my department from a major client loss. My manager nominated me for a leadership position. 2 weeks later, I had a new title and better pay. Not flashy, but comfortable. Solid. I joined a local gym, started sleeping better, lost 10 pounds, and found a sense of peace I hadn't felt in years. My trainer Marcus introduced me to someone. Adrian, a pediatric nurse with a calm presence and a contagious laugh. We weren't rushing anything. Long walks, bad movies, slow dinners. But it was real. Meanwhile, Dana's new world was unraveling. Kira, who stayed in touch, filled me in. Christian's job was under review due to financial discrepancies. Their lease was months behind. The Tesla, leased. The luxury, borrowed. The future, collapsing. One Saturday afternoon, Adrian and I were grabbing sandwiches when Dana walked into the cafe with a friend. Her face dropped. She spent 20 minutes pretending to browse the drink menu while shooting us glances. Adrian didn't even notice. She was busy telling me about a cartoon her niece loved. We left without acknowledging Dana. That night, the texts came. "I made a mistake. We should talk. She's not even your type. I miss us." I forwarded them to Jared and blocked the number. A week later, Dana showed up at my office. Security called me. She waited in the lobby with tear-streaked cheeks and an empty look. I slipped out the back. That evening her mother called to say Dana was moving home. She had nowhere else to go. The exchange finally happened. Jared and I were ready. Dana arrived in silence. Christian didn't come. She looked thinner, drained. Her voice was quiet as she signed the papers. No speeches, no pleas, just resignation. When she left, I stood alone in that glass conference room and let out a long breath. That was it. Divorce finalized. No shouting, no vengeance. Just facts, proof, and distance. Back home that night, Adrian curled up beside me on the couch. "How do you feel?" she asked. I thought for a moment. Free. Final note: life isn't about status or appearances. It's about knowing who you are, respecting your journey, and keeping people close who don't measure your worth in luxury brands or follower counts. We're moving in together soon. A modest apartment, a balcony, a cat Adrian insists will help me stay grounded. And me, I'm no one's upgrade or backup plan. I'm just a man who finally remembered what it feels like to breathe again. The end.